we wanted to use this opportunity at our last prayer meeting to not only pray and reconnect with God in a very intimate way so that we will have His presence and His power in our lives, but also to cast that vision for you so that you understand, and this theme becomes a global theme. It becomes a theme that really permeates through the entire congregation. Advance. And what will advance mean to you personally? What will advance mean to us collectively as a body? So here is what our elders has shared with us today as I've taken notes. What advance means to the leadership. And so it began where, number one, Moses was speaking to the people. And our head elder shared with us what Moses was saying to the people. Here was Moses. The Pharaoh's army was behind him. This Red Sea was before him. And Moses said to the people, God says to Moses, tell the people to go forward. What that's saying to us is that we have some things in our past, in our personal pasts, that cannot stop us. The fear of it, the thoughts of it cannot stop us. We have some things before us that are challenges. It cannot stop us. God is telling to the people through Moses and through our head elder in the message through Exodus 14, tell the people, go forward. And so what does advance mean? It means let us go forward even when we are facing adversities. Then the follow-up came where Sister Heather shared with us about Joshua and Caleb. Following up on this theme that nothing should stop us. Some of us she shared a personal testimony which I really appreciated. It was a testimony where she talked about her job. And sometimes we are so connected to our past. God has taken us out of something. And it may not necessarily be a bad thing. But He wants to move us to a better thing. And we are still holding on because we want that security blanket of something that we're comfortable with, something that is familiar. And God was telling Joshua and Caleb, and through Sister Heather telling us, let go of the security blankets, let go of those things that we are no longer for us, and let's move forward. Egypt is gone. Giants may be before us, but we can conquer those giants. And so the word of God came in Numbers 13:25. She shared, let us go up at once and possess the land, for we are well able to overcome it. Amen. And so I want to thank you, Sister Heather, for encouraging us to move forward. Then we were given encouraging words by Elder Andon. And he was sharing with us a text in Deuteronomy 11:26. And so far, we're talking about forward, advance as forward or looking backward, but moving forward. But now he interjects a new theme or a new concept. And that new theme or concept is now divergent paths, intersections. It's no longer necessarily forward or backward, but how are you going to advance forward? Because there is the right way and the left way. Right and left. And so he shares with us in Deuteronomy, and the Word of God says, before I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. If you go to the right, if you do the right thing, then you will be blessed. Verse 26 says a blessing if you obey the commandments. And verse 28 says, and a curse if you will not obey the commandments. And so we realize that if we're going to advance forward as a church, that we have to do the right thing. Anyone can advance, but if we're not advancing in the right way, as the directive of God, then we'll be advancing towards not a progressive path, but a destructive path. And so I want to thank you, Elder Andon, that indeed we are to advance, but to always look for God's guidance and direction. Elder Mutz came up later and he shared with us that, and I looked at this sort of like steps. If you're going to go forward, you have to start taking steps. He gave us 6 steps. And so I'd like to highlight those steps. The first step he said is, well, the overarching theme that he was sharing with us is that we must advance with a purpose. If we don't have a purpose, then then we won't know where we're going. And so he highlighted and emphasized the fact that we must have a purpose. God is a God of purpose, A. B, he said everything he creates has a purpose and the ability to fulfill that purpose. Therefore, God has a purpose, and he has made you with a purpose. Then he went on to say, not every purpose is known. The next one is, where there is no purpose, there will be abuse. And so he gave the illustration of a microphone. If you don't know what a microphone is for, you might use it for whatever purpose you think you want to use it for. You have to figure out what that purpose is. And in order to know your purpose, you must go to the Creator, or else you might take the microphone and think that you need to hammer something. And you'll be abusing it. And so we don't want to abuse what God has preciously given to us. So we